Danish pastry is world famous, and that's fair enough, known under the name Danish, or perhaps Danish pastry, I don't know. But I have traveled all over the world, and nowhere have I had Danish pastry as good as the one we have in Denmark. Perhaps you don't use the right marzipan, perhaps it's not butter but margarine that's used for the folding layers. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't taste nearly as good. And this is the real recipe, and it tastes and here's how it's made.
Yeah, I don't like to get messy fingers, so I use my machine for this. The sugar, the milk, or you can take the milk and the sugar, it doesn't really matter. The yeast. Make sure it's dissolved properly. The egg. And about 2/3 of the flour. The soft butter. I gave this 10 to 20 seconds in the microwave. It's much easier to mix the butter into the flour if you don't put it all in at once. So and then the last of the flour, and knead it for about 2-3 minutes, just until there's no dry lumps. If you knead it for a lot longer, it'll be harder to mix in the butter later. Put on a little bit of flour and mix it, shape it into a ball by folding it into itself like this. Then let it rest and rise for a half hour to an hour, depending on the temperature in your kitchen. Now I'll show the Danish method for mixing in the butter. This is the, what can I call it, lamination butter. And it's cold butter directly from the fridge. And generally you don't want to use your hands, because it'll stop being cold butter and it'll become hot melted butter. Beat it with your cake roll. And you've got to keep doing this for quite a while, perhaps 5 minutes. And it has to have the same consistency as the dough, and then it's ready. Because we have to fold the two together, and if they have the same consistency, they will follow along. But just keep beating and folding. Now you can see it's get easier to work. So it's almost done. So I shape it into a ball, which is about the same size of the unrisened dough. I start by preparing the dough by folding out 4 folds, like this, and then I make a small top in the middle where I want to place the butter. And the folds has to be about as long as the center. They have to be of the same size, because then there'll be as much dough on the top of the butter as there is on the bottom. The 4 layers of this thin dough and the thick layer in the bottom, that's about the same. Put the folds down and press it flat. That was the Danish method. This is the English, and this dough has also been shaped as a ball, but it has risen a bit longer, so it looks a bit more fluffy. When it's about 1 length versus 3 lengths, it's the right size. So I take the cold butter, 1 width to 3 lengths. I take the cold butter and grate it. You can't do it all over the dough, but in my experience, you'll risk it running out the sides when you fold it. I press it flat. Fold the unbuttered side and then the buttered side, and I fold that in over itself a little bit, under itself a little bit, so no butter will be pressed out. And that was the English method. There's no quality difference in the final product. Now we have to fold it, make the really thin layers. And we do that by folding it. We take the dough and we make it 3 times as long as it's wide. Try to keep the square shape. And this dough should have rested a bit more longer. You can see it's hard to work with when I roll it. Yeah, let's measure it. It's 2 by 2 and a little. That's not enough. But when I work it, it has a tendency to roll itself back. It's a bit elastic, and that's a sign that the dough hasn't rested enough. You cannot pull the dough too much because it's a bit fragile. Now it's a little bit longer, not much. The actual measurement doesn't really matter that much. It just has to be 1 in the bottom, 1 in the width, and 3 in the length, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to fold it like this. 1/3 over and another third over. So you should be back at a square shape, relatively square shape. Doesn't have to be absolutely precise. Second fold, you do exactly the same. See, it has rested for about 10 to 15 minutes. It has risen a little bit too, so I should probably have put it in the refrigerator. Not the freezer, I don't know what that is. But then again, see, it's much easier to shape now. When it's rolled out, it keeps the shape. That's because it has rested. Oh, I should have turned this over so the other side was up, but it's okay. It'll make fine bread anyway. And it's important to always keep it a little bit dry with flour so it doesn't stick to the table. Also, if you roll it so that butter is coming out, just put on more flour at that spot. Again, last roll. And this should have rested 5 minutes more perhaps. It's a bit elastic. But it's not impossible, it's just a little bit harder. And again, 1 width, 3 lengths. Try to keep it square and nice and pretty, because that'll make it easier when you cut out the dough for making cakes. And now it has rested for about half an hour, and I will roll it out to the final shape. And it should be a square. Something like 16 inches times 16 inches. Put on a little bit of flour, not too much. Make sure it's square. And if it gets very crooked, you can pull the corners. But be careful not to break the dough. And this pin I'm using is exactly 16 inches or 40 centimeters. So I use that for measurement. If yours is at a different size, you must use some kind of other measurement, tape measure or something like that. It's important it has the right size. Because all the rest of the recipes are based on this size, 16 inches on each side, 40 centimeters. This and like this. Yes, perfect. And now you have used all this time to see how we make the Danish dough. I'll show you how to make some Danish bars. Stænger, they are called in Danish. This is remonce. 1.5 ounce approximately. I put it on in a thin strip, fold over the ends. Like this. And then I fold over the side so it covers the remonce completely. The remonce can be seen sort of a glue in this case. Fold it over carefully. And then I use the side of my hand like a karate chopstick to press it flat, almost down to the table. And we take that again from another angle. Loosely press it together, fold over, and then press it hard with the karate chop. Well, the karate press. And now we have a nice Danish bar. Or stick. I don't know what to call it in English. I don't think there is a name for it. This is just an egg and a tablespoon of milk. And some sugar. The sugar will melt and give it a nice brown surface. And now we let it rise for an hour or a half an hour, depending on the temperature in your kitchen again. These are about double the size now. When they're baked, they look like this. And then the hard time comes when you have to wait for half an hour until you can put on the icing. And there's only the good part left. And you can find the list of ingredients and the recipe on kvalifood.